Hello. So, this part is about energy work and how all of that works. So, I'm just gonna start with telling you a bit about myself, how I discovered this. So, I basically started experiencing things, feeling things which I couldn't really place or name, experiencing things, seeing things. And with that, I started looking for answers. And one of the things I dug into was energy work. And I started looking for some trainings because I just wanted to have a solid foundation and know what I was doing because I could feel the energy flowing anyway. So I just wanted to know, okay, what is this all about? And I found something close by. It was actually very good, but I noticed some of the elements were not the way I actually feel them to be. So in all of this kind of energy work setting, it is sometimes like everything, it has a lot of truth in it, or a grain of truth, but there is also some parts of it that might not align with you. It doesn't mean necessarily that they are wrong. It might just mean it's not your way, or not the way you perceive the world. It's not your truth. And then it might not even be like their truth. But it works for people, and that's the thing that's important, if it helps people, right? So this practice was called soul healing, and the basics of it was basically connecting with the soul and also with the soul of the other person, and just connecting and moving the energy to help the energy flow from the soul to the personality increase, and just helping with any blockages that there might be, integrating different parts, making the system more aligned, like a lot of many different aspects. I finished that one, and there were some other ones to continue, and I began one of them, but then I noticed, no, I don't think it's gonna work for me. At the time I had also a lot of moves going around, so I was moving from one place to another, and everything was just changing in my life. So I basically finished the first training and didn't continue to the next deeper parts. And I'm happy I didn't, because later I also learned other modalities, which I noticed for me were more aligned with my truth, which were more aligned with the way I want to work, which for me were more down to earth and not so like esoteric and bubbly. So that worked for me more, and I just try the things out, try what works for you, and I just recommend that to everyone, because what works for me might not work for you. Like, for example, I never dug deep into yoga. It was something that has never gotten me like, yes, that's something I want to do. I tried some things out, and there are definitely parts which I love, but it's just not something I would do, not the way I would choose to go about spirituality. But I'm fine with people doing whatever they feel like doing. So this was a bit about me, and I worked in this field, and I guided people through this way. I don't do one-on-one things anymore that much, unless it's like for friends or close community members, like people which I know, or in like special cases. And I basically learned like a lot of different things. I learned some body work and the armoring and energy work and breath work and other forms of energy work, and then also different forms of energy work. And then I took like this truth out of that, also like some massage elements which I learned. I basically picked all the puzzle pieces together which aligned for me and made my own thing out of that. Really like listening to the intuition. What is that which feels like needs to be given at the moment? What is the system of the other person telling me to do? So I basically just let myself be guided in all of that. And I think that's the most important part, to like let go of any kind of structure you might have on that, because everyone is individual in that way. So what works for one person might not work for the other person, you know? Like some people are more mindy and brainy and they need something that might first quiet down the brain. The other person might work perfectly through the body, and the body will then reflect all of that on the other system parts. Like the body might then later signal something to the brain, so then tend to work through the body. And some people might be better at accessing their emotions, so emotional release might be easier to them than to other people. So you know, everyone is different because every one of us is like on a different level of this personal growth. So I basically would just choose what feels good to each individual person. And I recommend that to everyone. You know, don't just follow your, this is the thing, and, you know, I'm closing myself off to any other paths. You don't want to do that, because there might be a lot to learn from other things, from other people. And if you stay open, then you will just widen your horizon. It's like the difference between religion and spirituality, you know? If you are able to open up to the possibility that the other things might also work, then it's just gonna, make it possible to change, to have more information coming in, to just widen your horizon and give more to the people. And this is all that there is to it, right? We do this thing, we do the energy work, we do things where we feel like we want to help people. We want to somehow support this world into a positive side, right? We want to help it grow. We want community to grow. We want love to spread. We just want people to heal and face the stuff so everyone is happier. I think that is like the motivation most of us have. I hope people don't do this because they need money or they think it's easy or you know, if they just do it out of this motivation that is deep in them to create a positive change. And that's the beautiful side of it. So if it's called, you know, soul healing or Reiki or, you know, all the different names that there are to energy work, it doesn't really matter. What matters is what you do out of it and the way that you give it to people and what they later make out of it, if they have a positive impact because of that. So that's the beauty of it. And I think the first part I would like to talk about is boundaries and ethics in all of this, because I know a lot of people, when they dive into doing energy work or any kind of body work, breath work, any kind of thing, they feel like, oh, I have learned this and now I want to try it out on everyone. And especially with energy work, because you can do it without anyone really noticing, you know, like with body work or massage, you have to work on people actually. But with energy work, it can be like basically, oh, I'm gonna send light to this person, or I'm gonna send light to the whole world, and I'm gonna do this and this and this, you know. And actually, have you ever thought about what your needs are? But if you're actually doing this for the other, what about what they need or what they want? Have you ever thought about that? Have you thought about that it might not be the right thing for them to receive? Because like this healing way of just forcing it onto someone, it's not the way to go, because it's then coming out of your ego. It's coming out of this, I wanna, you know, I wanna do this, or I wanna help so much, or I feel they have this problem and now I have to, you know, do something about it. And why? You know, talk about that with the other. Don't just send the person energy without them knowing. You're basically just overstepping the boundaries. This is like rape. And I'm telling you this might be triggering, but it is, you know. It's basically like raping them energetically, because you're doing something to their system and they might not even know about it. So maybe it's even worse than rape, because, you know, what are you doing? Why are you doing that? And this is something that a lot of people have. They do. And you don't want to do that. You don't want to influence the other person without them knowing, without them agreeing to that. You don't if you're really acting out of love. And there are people who are willingly manipulating others and who are doing that consciously. But it's not positive. It's not something that comes out of love. It's not something that is going to help the other grow. Not really. Then it's for your own gain and not for the gain of the other person. So out of what cause are you doing all of this? You know, this is all about ethics, and it's also about karma and what you're willing to do. Because if you will keep overstepping the boundaries of other people and also overstepping your own boundaries, then you're gonna get some kind of repercussions because of that. You know, if you take away someone's pain, then that pain might come to you. Because maybe the person needed to learn a lesson from that. Maybe they were not ready for that pain to go. Maybe they had to realize that themselves. What is that pain telling me? And you just took that away, this important lesson. So now they're just gonna get a lesson another way. Maybe it's not gonna be pain this time. Maybe it will be an accident. And what about that pain that you took away? Maybe you will get it because the energy needs to go somewhere. So if you don't really know how all of this works, don't do it, because you might be overstepping those kind of energy principles that you don't even know about. And that can do more bad than it can do good in a lot of cases. And even if you have a patient or a client in front of you and are doing energy work on them, there is like no point at all where you want to be forcing something, because then it's different. You know, there is this scenario where you do it without the other person knowing, which is like, no, don't do that. Then there is the scenario where you actually have someone working with you, and you have this client and they know you're gonna work with their system. So when do you know what is ethically correct and will not cause anything bad to happen? And when do you know it's not okay? So, you know, it's all about just allowing that to flow through you and not forcing things. Like, for example, if you know they have a topic with like sexuality, you don't want to be forcing things. You don't want to be like, yes, heal, open chakra, yes. You know, go, all the problems go away, all things like that. You don't want to do that. You want to just surrender to that energy flow that will happen, even if you don't force it. You just want to listen to the other person and how the system works. You want to feel into the energetics, into the energy flow. There is a lot of this work is just about intuition and listening to yourself, listening to what is going on, and feeling into that, what is going on. To not overstep any of these boundaries. Because you want to be acting out of like a higher plane. You want to be acting out of this level of selfless giving, selfless love, out of those levels of the soul and spirit, where you're not acting out of the needs and wants of your own personality, but out of that way where you just want to support in any way that is right for that person at that moment. And it might mean that it's not gonna be the goal that you have thought you want to reach. So you have to also be okay with not pushing that far, with not reaching that goal so quickly. You want to do it naturally, organically, and not pushing and not forcing anything. And that is like a thin line. You have to like really practice in a way to get into it. You have to practice following your intuition. You have to practice feeling things, noticing yourself. Like, at what moment is my head telling me to do something which is not right? At what moment is it intuition? At what moment is it just my ego telling me to do something? So you just have to become very aware of your own things. How do I act in my normal life? How do I act when I'm giving in our session? Like, how am I in different states of mind and being? And when is this really coming out of that higher perspective? So you have to become aware to not only do something which might be bad for that person, but might also be bad for you. Because as I said, those karmic consequences in some way will just be there anyway if you overstep the boundaries. And other boundaries are easier, but these energetic boundaries, because we have no idea at the beginning what we are dealing with, are harder. With body, with this physical form, the boundaries easier because you can see it, because it's touchable, because it's something that's spread in society, like things like don't cheat on your wife. It's something that's normal in society, but it's not normal for people to talk about energetic boundaries and the energy field and how you're being and in the space of the other person, which might not be comfortable for them. And you might not get it, but the person might still feel it. Like, for example, with people who are very out there and like maybe a bit aggressive or just have a strong energy, that might be hard for people who have some backstory about being attacked or some mistreatment, because they might feel as if that other person is kind of making the energy smaller, and they feel suddenly something is weird and they are overstepping those kind of energetic boundaries, even if they are not directly being talked to. It can just be that this person walked into the room and they already feel like something is going on. That's possible. It is. And that might be hard for some people. And this kind of things nobody talks about. So just be aware of yourself, be aware of your client, and just keep both in mind and really try to just be aligned in those moments where you are doing energy work. Like that's the basics of all of this. If you don't know how to do all of that, how to stay aligned, how to do this work in a way which is healthy and proper, then just do more inner work, become more aligned with yourself, and that would help also to become aligned with the work that you do. And there might be some stuff changing, but you're just basically going to become a purer channel for all of this energy to flow. It will become easier to just allow the energy to flow, to do energy work, to just follow the intuition, and anything that will happen will just come naturally. So doing your own energy work or doing your own work, doing your own stuff and dealing with all of that is like the key element. Because how can you guide the other person if you still have so much stuff of your own? And you're always going to be able to help someone else with the topic that you have already managed in a way. So it, even if you feel like someone is not a good coach or is not a good healer, they might be because they have maybe experienced something already which can help that other person. There's also a lot of judgment on energy workers, because they have learned this and they already feel like they can help everyone. And there are a lot of people who have still no idea what they do, and a lot of people who are too over happy and overexcited and start too quickly. But there are also a lot of people which we might have judgment on and feel like they shouldn't be doing this, but they still might actually be helping people. Because, it's kind of like this with consciousness. We have people on all the different levels, I would say, and this person being here might still help this person being here, and then this person being here would help both of them. But this person being here could also help someone who is even lower, but maybe not the person who is higher, depending on the topic also, because there are so many different parts of life. This person might have worked better through their family topics, inner child stuff, topics with their mother and father. The other person might have a better idea about relationships and sexuality. So, there are all the different fields which all of this can work in. So I just advise to be open to the knowledge of others. Even if at the first moment you don't feel as if you can learn anything from the other person. But even that thought coming in is already a signal you can learn something. You can learn to let go of judgment. You can learn to be more neutral to other people. You can learn what the other person is showing you through the thoughts that come up. Yeah. So this was an introduction about how many of these things can work, to create this basic kind of setting. And how about healing? Energy work, why do we do it? We do it because it's a way of healing, of helping, of treating things, right? But it's not something that is widely spread in the medicine, in the normal university kind of teachings. But it still helps. So why? Why does it help? Why does it all work? What is going on in a scientific basic kind of way? I'm just gonna explain the components of all of that so you know how this can work. Basically, we have our personality here. We have this physical body and also the emotional and the mental, which are part of this personality. And then we have things that are even bigger. We have the soul levels and we have the spirit levels. And those work through us. So it's basically the spirit working through the soul, working through us, and being here. We are not actually us. We are actually God through the spirit, through the soul, in the personality, living this life. So why do we get ill? What is going on there? What is happening? We get ill, or we have pain, or we get any kind of body signals because we basically haven't been listening to what the emotional and the mental planes and those higher ones are telling us. So, for example, we might have this thought coming up again and again that junk food isn't good for us. And you might have this thought, oh, you shouldn't eat that, or it's not healthy. Maybe go for veggies, or it's too salty, it's too fat, or all of those different kind of thoughts coming up. And then you might have emotions coming up about it. Maybe you feel a sensation, oh, this is making me so tired, I have eaten too much, I feel going into a food coma, or I feel bad, there is some frustration coming up with myself, things like that. And if you ignore those signs for too long, so basically you ignored the thoughts coming up, you were eating junk food anyway, even though your system was telling you not to, you were ignoring the emotions and feelings and body sensations that were coming. You were doing it anyway, even if you knew it was making you tired, frustrated, making you feel bad. Your self-worth was very bad at that moment, and you were still doing it. You were still eating junk food, and you just continued. Nothing changed. And then you're just gonna basically need a bigger kind of kick in the ass to notice what your soul is wanting to tell you. So you're gonna suddenly maybe have some issues with digestion. You might have, diabetes or any kind of thing suddenly happening in your body. Maybe you suddenly have to go to a doctor or to any kind of person in the alternative scene because something is going on in your body. So this only happens if you haven't been listening to those other things telling you already. This is like the last way for the body, for the soul and the spirit to try to make you notice that you are doing something wrong. It's basically your soul going like, oh, she's not listening. We have to send her a stronger message. She's not listening to what I'm telling her. She's not noticing the thoughts. She's not noticing the emotions. Now we have to give her some body pain. Maybe we have to cause an accident so that she will simply have to eat good food or things like that, This was just like a funny way of showing you what I mean. But it's basically like that. It's basically just about you not noticing the signs and your soul having to send you stronger signals for you to notice. That's one way of putting it. And then you have different body signals for different things. Like, for example, things with the hands or with the wrists might be a sign that the energy that is flowing through you is not being lived out in like a physical way. You're not doing things with your hands. You're not doing physical things. Things around like the lower back might be signs that something is going on with your sexuality. That something might be in your sex life with the partner where you are overstepping your boundaries, for example, or when your sexuality is just not healthy in a way, or that you are suppressing your sexual energy. Something around like the chest, any kind of pains here might be about people and opening up to them, not trusting people, having fear of others seeing your shame or any kind of topic like that. Anything like around the belly might be about emotions and anger you are not releasing. Anything around the throat area might be about communication and how you're not speaking out what you actually mean. Like, there are a lot of different ways your body is showing you what it means, and there are some amazing books about this, about what the body means and what it's showing you, and how that is actually what it means on like a higher level, what it means for the way you are acting in your life. And all of this, like I said, it's just basically the last sign for you to show you what you are doing wrong. And this is just like a life lesson, it's not something bad. People do it all the time. It's not something bad. It's not something that should be looked down for. It's just you need this lesson, like we all do. And some of us just notice those signs quicker than others. But at some point, we all need like a kick in the ass to face that reality. We might not even be hearing our own emotions or thoughts because we are so closed off to that. So the body needs to show us, because we might not listen in any other way because we're just so stubborn and we think that is so right, especially because of all of the conditioning of society and of our family on us, of the schooling system, of the work ethics. Because of all of this, we have learned to listen to that what is told us this is right, earning money, doing this, working like this, living like this, having a family like this, doing that. This is the path of life. This is right. And because we have like all of this that we listen to, we disregard anything else that comes in the way because we believe this is the truth. So we ignore all of those different messages, even if our system is telling you to take a break, fly something, change your job, quit, whatever, And there are things which might just come again and again and again and again. And you're just not willing to let go of this conditioning because it's just imprinted so deeply into you. So you might have to have an accident, have a serious illness, have cancer, have any kind of like very serious disease. And like I said, this just happens because you're not listening. So for some people, it radically changes their life if they suddenly start eating differently, if they do something totally different, if they change their life. And sometimes the cancer can't even go away. There are things like that. And that is because you're suddenly willing to listen to yourself and to do what is right for you and not stop avoiding those signs. So this is just a way of how those things go. And energetically speaking, how everything flows, right? So we have our chakras, and you probably know about them. I'm gonna stick with the 7. I know there are teachings which show more, and I don't want to even talk about this. Let's just go with 7. So we have our root chakra, which connects us to the earth. And the earth is a magnetic being. It can also be like connected to this feminine energy. And this connects us to like grounding. It connects us to this physical form, to our physical body, to this physical life, to the earth, to having roots somewhere, like a stable home, stability in general. The legs are also connected to them. Like, for example, something with the right leg might be just a way to show you're not walking the right path. So, the body just shows you through the connection to that chakra, that chakra is not working, that the energy is not flowing in a good way, that it maybe has some blockages, that it may be going very slow and the energy is not flowing correctly, and then it kind of has all of those repercussions with that. And then you have the sacral chakra, which is all about the reproductive system, about sexuality, about things like that. Then the solar plexus, which is about emotional topics. And you can even, it's in this place where you have so many nerves coming together and where the ribs meet, like in the middle, and you can even press down there and see if you have any pain, and then you will know, okay, I have to work on this. And you can do that yourself. You can just press down and notice if there is anything. Like for me, I feel a slight pain. I also feel a slight pain on the back, like where my spine is. And when I press more and more, I feel anger coming up. And for me, it's easy to notice that it's coming up because I do this a lot on different body parts. But for you, you might just feel pain, or you might not feel anything. It's just numb. And that is also a sign there is something there. So it's basically showing you, okay, you can work with this stuff and you can do this to yourself and just allow yourself to feel what is there. Then we have the heart chakra, which is, all about opening the heart, about people, about acceptance, about self-love, like inner child things, trust, about things like this. And we have the throat, and this is about communication, speaking up, boundaries. Mostly about communication. And then we have the third eye, which is like about seeing the truth, about this kind of spiritual side of everything, getting insights. And then we have the crown. And the crown is just our connection to the spirituality, to our soul, to our spirit. It's like this connection also to the electric forces, to the masculine energy, to, this electricity in a way that we have in us, all of those nerves and all of this nervous system connected. So we have the magnetic and the electric forces in us, and they work through the chakras here, up and down, and also all the chakras have like a back and front. Like this is like this, the energy flows like this into us, and down there it's also like that on the root chakra. And those here, like if I go sideways, we have like here, and we have also the back, and they can symbolize different things. And you can have pain on the back or pain on the front. Like for example, if you have like a pain on the back of your back, like on the back of the heart, on your shoulders, it could mean that you have like a lot to carry, basically. If you feel like heavy here, it's just like you feel as if you have so much burden to carry. So you have the chakras going in both directions. There are 5 of them, right? So here, the heart, the solar plexus, and the sacral chakra. And all the chakras have a spin. So you can basically imagine the energy flowing not like this, but like this, you know, like in a spiral way, just flowing into us. And this is all about the good energy flowing in and the energy that you don't need anymore flowing out. This is like just the alchemy and the transformation process we all have naturally. It's just like eating, you know. You eat, you get all of those nutritions in, your body becomes nourished, and then you poop out all of that you don't need anymore. This is like a representation also of how this energy can work. It just goes in and then goes out, transforming. For example, if your soul feels like, okay, she needs more energy in the throat, it's time for her to learn how to speak up for herself, things like that. So you have more energy flowing in. And then have also some other things flowing out. And it might be, you know, fear about speaking out. It might suddenly feel as if you suddenly have like a tightness in your throat, and it's just your body showing you this sign, okay, it's something I have to work on, and then we can transform that, and that kind of energetic imprint can flow out. So we are all not really physical in that way. We are all kind of like porous. I think it's the good word to describe this. We are like a porous kind of being with energy flowing in and out of us all the time. So we are very lively, very flexible, very open, very energetic. We are not like we see ourselves, you know, we see our hand, but it's not like this. We are actually, you know, energetic. And this physical form gets created and changed all the time. The speed we just perceive it to be is so slow because all of this is about vibration, right? So this vibration of our physical form is just so slow that we perceive it to be physical. We don't perceive the vibration of the emotional or the mental body that easily because it's quicker. So we don't have this openness in our eyes to see it. We might feel it, but we maybe cannot see it. So it's all about vibration. Just like with the colors, we can see like the basic spectrum of colors, but we cannot see like ultraviolet or violet or infrared, right? And it's like that with all of these other vibrations. That's why we cannot see like the energies of the soul flowing into us. But it's still there. It's just something we cannot see. Just like some colors that we cannot see. And if you really feel into that, you might actually feel it. Because feeling is for some people easier. And the breath can show you very much how all of this is also connected. You know, like breathing in all of that energy from above, all of that energy from the universe, life force you are breathing, this air that is just feeding your life. And breathing out and letting go of all that you don't need. This is also just a way of alchemy if you really do it knowingly. And you can do it with every breath you take, inhaling new energy, healing yourself, and exhaling old energy out. And having that in mind, having that awareness that you can always use and always increase, can already transform a lot, because you're suddenly aware of your own being. So breathing in new and breathing out all that you don't need, all the sickness, all of that which is stored in your body that you do not need anymore, and having just this process. And doing it fully, even with noises. Just focusing on the breath. Having that focus and awareness can already be very powerful. And going back to those electric and magnetic forces, it's something that is very present in this life that we have on this earth, because all of this world is filled with polarity, with duality. So we have, for example, the moon and the sun, right? It's the sun being the electric and the moon being the magnetic. And you can see how they are influencing the world, like the moon, how it influenced the tides of the water, and the sun, how when there are sunstorms, what happens on the earth. So this influences the whole earth, and it also influences us because we are filled with so much water that why shouldn't the moon be influencing us? Naturally it does. And this is just like a way for the electric and the magnetic forces to also show themselves in us. So all of this is made this way. And if all of this is made this way, like our whole being, we can also go like with the hands, right? So the right hand, your dominant hand for most people, would be the one which is electric, which is more giving the energy, which is like more active in that way. And the left hand would be the magnetic, taking things out, letting things go away, letting go, and just the more hand that is more connected with like the feminine aspects. So you have two, right? And you can work with that consciously. You can have like imagining a very easy exercise you can do regarding energy work and how to work with yourself. I wouldn't recommend working with other people if you don't know what you're doing. So you can just imagine this force of God, of the source of the universe, whatever you call it, just this healing energy, just powerful energy. You can imagine it like a white light, glowing white light, which feels very good, very peaceful, very positive. And you can imagine it flowing into your whole system from above and spreading through your whole being. And you can imagine it being filled, like you are so filled up. You can do it with breathing, right? So you're breathing it in and you're breathing out and letting it spread through your whole system. And you can do this and do this, just this breathing exercise and filling yourself up. And then when you feel so full, you have too much, and you can give this too much back to yourself. Like any place where you feel like you still need more, like maybe the heart. Okay, I'm gonna send this white healing energy which is coming from the above through me into my heart, to let it transform whatever needs to be transformed. then you can, like with the left hand, you can even, okay, I'm gonna take whatever I don't need from my heart. I'm gonna take it, like physically grabbing it, breathing all of that out. And just pulling it away from your system and just, shaking it off or putting it into the earth very physically and letting it flow away. And this is a practice which I only recommend to people who know what they are doing, or to people who know how to separate that again. So if you take something away, then you need to know how to let it go truly, because if you don't, then it's basically just gonna enjoy being here. That's why also energetically some of us take things away from our clients, not just changing what is in their system, but actually taking it into us. So this energetic hygiene is so important, and that can be through like stroking it out, like through the meridians, and just energetically stroking that out, putting it under running water and letting it flow out with the water, because water is a magnetic force, or putting it to the earth, connecting to the earth and letting it flow into the earth, because the earth will accept it, also being magnetic. So these kind of things you can do to work with yourself, and you can basically have anything that can come up. The more of this work that you do, the more those things will just come naturally, and you will get your own insights how to work with all of this, new ideas for exercises, like many different ways through which this can work. And talking about this energetic hygiene is just so important when you are an energy worker, a healer, also a doctor in general, anyone who has anything to do with it. Because all of this world is based on resonance, right? Law of attraction. So if you have someone with a certain topic, I don't know, digestion problems, something is going on in their solar plexus, they're not feeling anger, they're not allowing themselves to feel anger, and that topic might trigger something in you. So this topic might also be coming up for you, and you might not be sure, okay, why is it coming up? Have I taken away something from my patient and now I have this in me? Or is it just my body showing me the signs, okay, I can work on this topic too? Like there can be two different aspects. There can be this aspect of, okay, I also have the same topic as my client, so now I can work through that to not get triggered anymore and to be able to help my patients even better, to guide them even better, because I have transformed my own stuff about it and now I can deal with it better. Or there might be this thing about you doing this energy work and you have taken something away from the patient without them being ready for that, and you get this karma in your body, or you just drag something out of their system with your hand, the energy grabbing it, and then you haven't properly let it go, and through that it still gets stuck in your body. So it's important to do energetic hygiene, and that can look like when you're taking a shower, not just showering your physical body, but putting all cold water and just imagining all of that water washing away all of the energy that doesn't belong right now. It doesn't belong to you. So taking a shower can be a very, very energetic experience. It can be a healing experience on so many levels. It can be such a deep cleanse because you let all of that wash through your system. So you can do this with any tiny thing you do: washing your hands, brushing your teeth, taking a shower, eating food, dressing yourself. With anything you can connect like this energy work with in your daily life, doing energy hygiene. Like taking off your clothes can be like, okay, I'm taking the clothes off, and I'm also taking off any of the energy that, is not something that I need right now. Also, like many different kind of rituals which you can place into your daily life to, just grow more. Okay, I'm gonna have a quick look at my list of things. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to talk about is the morphic field, or morphogenetic field, the Akasha Chronic, as some people call it. And this has become very popular through family constellations, and some people in family constellations don't even know that they can use it for basically everything. It's not just about the family system. So this works because we are all connected. We have the spirit working through the soul into the personality, and above that is God. God is everything. And it's all one up there. There is no polarity in God. There is polarity in God, but it's also oneness. It's both sides. It's oneness and everything. So that's what I mean. And because of that, we can access it. We can access everything because we are part of everything. We are part of this life, and the human being next to us is also a part of God, and we are a part of God. So we are one and the same, even if we are different ways of God working through us. So we can use this morphogenetic field, or reading the Akasha Chronic, by, for example, finding a spot in the room where you want to stand on, and then just feeling into that thing you want to feel into. And that can be anything. It can be people, emotions, places, memories, anyone, anything, anywhere. And then you just quiet down all of your own things, any kind of things you might have, and just allow that to overcome you. And then you see what comes up. Like, for example, we can try peace, and I'm just gonna do it here, sitting in my spot. You can just pick a different spot to have a symbolic way of doing it. And I'm just gonna drop into peace. Okay, so I'm just gonna talk about this experience a bit. So for me, feeling into peace, becoming peace, the first thing I notice is how my body changed its position. It's even more upright. I feel how the airflow can flow more freely. It's quiet and it's very light. It feels good, very wide and open. So this is about just becoming that thing that you are feeling into. And this is like the most key aspect of meditation. Just becoming that thing that you are meditating on, becoming that thing you are feeling into, becoming that thing in the Akasha Chronic that you want to read and see what impulses come. And this can look in many different ways. It can be like this feeling and seeing how the body reacts. It can be through insights and impulses coming, through memories or images coming up. You can hear the different words that are coming up. And these are all different ways in which you can open up your system and widen the range of experience you have. And that's important for this work, because when you are working with clients, you want to know many different things that can come up, right? You don't just want to know about the topics that you have. You want to also know how to help them with things that you might have no awareness of. So this can help you to get to know topics that you don't know. And I don't recommend doing it with the patient when they come to you and then you're like, okay, I'm just gonna see how this feels like. But you can do it. You can do it. And you can even through that show them what something might feel like that they don't know. Like, for example, they might not know how to access anger, and through that you can work with them on it. You can show them how to feel anger. You can show them what anger looks like and things like this. And this is all very connected to psychic abilities, clairsenses, to channeling, to these things. And why? Why is it? It is like that because it's going to be easier for people who have this openness to channel or to see and perceive things which we don't see. It's going to be easier for them to read into the Akasha or to feel the things in the morphogenetic field because they already have more openness to all of these different things. And all of those psychic abilities are things which we have a possibility to reach, but it's not something that all of us will. It's something that has to do with your own inner growth process, with your own spiritual process, because the more you work on yourself, the more you will be able to access of those abilities, because your soul and spirit will be suddenly like, okay, she's handling life good right now, let's send her a new ability because she's ready. And it's going to come if you are aligned on your path, if you're ready for that to come. So trying all of this out can already show you, okay, how easy it is for me, how am I able to also put myself back and allow those impulses to come up into me without my own judgment and my own stuff showing up too. Because you want this thing that goes through you when reading the Akasha Chronic, when feeling into things, when feeling people, you want to be able to do just that and not have your own system influencing what you are feeling. Like, for example, if you have your client and you want to feel into them, what is the topic right now? You don't want to have your own topics coming up. So it's important to learn how to quiet down your own system, how to blend out your own emotions, feelings, your own body signals for the session, not for life. Because if you do it full time, that's not good. You're not going to be able to transform and integrate all of that. But if you have a session with a client, it's important to be able to read them and not have your own things coming up, because you want to do it out of a place of neutrality and this higher perspective. So this is the same when working with people, when working with the Akasha Chronic, with the morphogenetic field, when doing channelings. You have to learn to let go. You have to let go, to surrender, and to open up to those impulses, to those things, to those beings that want to go through you, that want to work through you. You're gonna have to learn how to let go, how to surrender to that, what is coming through you. And the psychic abilities and the morphogenetic field are like the easy ways to begin all of this. I would say the morphogenetic field being the first one, because you are like consciously choosing one thing and feeling into it. And that also in a very physical way. So you can try doing that. And then later, when you have grown and you have done your own inner work, some psychic abilities might show up. So suddenly you might see and perceive things. You might hear other things. You might notice the energy flows. It can be many different things, like even smelling, for example, or tasting. And this is just a way to show you are becoming more open to other extra sensory things. And then later, you might even start noticing that you are not just hearing beings, but you have also had the possibility to let them come into you, like partially, for example, by writing, or fully letting them come into your body. But this is advanced stuff, so I'm not going to be talking about this right now too deeply. But it's all about trusting yourself enough to be able to let go, to be able to blend out your own stuff and allow the other things to come in. And it's the same when letting yourself be guided by your soul to do energy work, by feeling into the different things that you can feel into. So the basics are the same. You just want to let yourself be guided by intuition when doing all of this work. And through all of that, you're just going to be more and more aligned with yourself, because when dealing with other people, when doing energy work, you are going to have your own topics coming up. You are going to have no choice but to work on yourself, because as your clients will grow, you will also have to grow to still be able to continue your work with them. You know, at some point they might outgrow you, and that's beautiful. It's beautiful to see people grow. That's just such a wonderful thing. It is. So I'm going to put some pictures next to this video for you to have like a visualization of how the energy system is built up, how the different chakras can look like, how they feel like. And then you can just experiment on your own. Like, if you want to go deeper into all of this, I recommend the course on feeling that I have. There are some exercises about especially feeling other people, feeling objects, more on the morphogenetic field, about also yourself and how to feel many different things, about the energy bodies. And that can, guide you a bit more on your process. I might do another little course about energy work and more with different exercises, how to practice on yourself. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed it. I'm just gonna have a quick look if I haven't forgotten anything. And my phone doesn't want to turn on. Okay. Yeah, so I think that's all for today. Thank you.